who still needs to do something with her bangs. Hey, it's SCA. We are continuing our YouTuber-inspired makeup series. So this is where I look at some of my favorite YouTube content creators who wear makeup, and I'm going to try to recreate one of their typical makeup looks. So again, I'm not trying to cosplay as them. I'm not going to transform into them. This is just how their makeup looks to me. I don't actually know their personal makeup routines for the most part. So you might be able to tell by the plushies and the shirt inspiration that today's inspired look is Moriah Elizabeth. She is a part of the arts community here on YouTube, and she does a lot of creative cutesy designs. For instance, these are the bean bodies, and this is a Bumble Bear over here. And I'm going to be honest, Tom is my favorite of the bean bodies, and he's absolutely adorable and has a feather on him from my robe. But these are things that I purchased from her line because I thought they were adorable, and I really love how creative she is. But her creativity really shows in her squishies, her plushies, and her drawings. But her makeup is actually pretty vanilla because she just doesn't put that kind of creativity into her face. Now, I also toyed with the idea of trying to recreate one of her characters because she turns herself into her characters, but I'm still not 100% on that one. Maybe like closer to Halloween or something. Right now, what we're gonna start with is I like to start with my eyes. Even though my bangs are in my face, I have a mirror right here, so when I'm looking down and not at you, that's what's going on. We're starting with some Milani Eyeshadow Primer because that's how we do too much. We just need a little bit, don't know. When you have to squish it at the end because I'm almost out of this, it likes to really come out, but it actually lasts a long time. You're like, oh, I'm getting to the end of it. Not so fast. So as I said, she tends to do a lot of monochromatic looks. She doesn't have a lot of color going on, and she tends to keep it, and I'll put up my reference picture so you can follow along with what I'm also looking at. So she just tends to keep everything very neutral. So I'm going to go in with... this is the color called Witty first. And I'm just going to be bringing this because I noticed a lot of my favorite content creators do not have my eye style. And what I mean by eye style is, I mentioned this when I was doing Annie Elise, which I will link if you haven't seen that one. That was the first one I did. And I think the next person I'm going to do is either going to be Emily D. Baker or Stephanie Sue from Rotten Mango. I open my eyes. I have a ton of eye space, but when I close my eyes, I have this fold over of skin. All the other YouTubers I've seen, they all just have like they have a mono lid that's just one flat lid. They do not have this fold over hood that I have. I think that I am going to go in with maybe this color called Bossy, because she does have a lot of browns that she tends to wear on her eyes. And we're just going to really blend this out and up. We're just going to do the same on the other eye. I'm now going to go in with a brown liquid liner. This is the chocolate color from Better Than Sex by Too Faced. Just going to get this right next to the lash line. And I've never seen Moriah Elizabeth really have a definitive wing. Moriah Elizabeth does have some very put together brows. So we're going to go in with the Express Brow Sculpt from Maybelline. And this is like a colored gel. So what we're going to do is we're going to scrape off the excess around the edge. And this is in the color Taupe color. Lighter for this kind of a product than you're going for, because otherwise it's going to look incredibly dark. So we're going to start with the end where we deposit color and just put it through our brow to begin with. Then with this little comb side, you see how some of the bristles are longer on one side? We're going to take that little comb side and we're going to lift them up and out. You see what I mean by that color? If I were to get the actual color of my I just washed this floor. But if I were to go with the color that was actually close to what my brow color looks like with the cap color, you see how much incredibly, it would just look black, which would look really weird unless I was getting into a costume, which I am not today. But we're just gonna repeat that process, pulling this through. It also doesn't help that I do not have my brows in the best condition I need to done. We're gonna be looking up and out, and then brushing down, and this has very incredible hold. This is a quick one-step way to fill, shape, and gel brows down. And she definitely wears mascara. I'm going to go with the Charlotte Tilbury Exaggereyes because it has this nice little curve, so you can get right up under those lashes. And this gives definition and thickness. Moriah definitely strikes me as the kind of person who is not spending, like, she's not using 2 or 3 different mascaras, one for length, one for thickness, and like an undercoat. She just doesn't strike me as that kind of person. Now, she very well might, I don't know, but I am going to go in with the face. Again, I think that Moriah Elizabeth is the kind of person who keeps her makeup routine pretty simple. She has 2 young children as well, and she has a business that she runs, again, with her whole selling of products. And I didn't tell you anything that I did there. This is the LMS Pro Collagen Marine Cream, and then this is the Topicals Sealed Primer, because Moriah Elizabeth has some really, really nice looking skin. So I'm going to go in with my Laura Geller Baked in Brighten foundation. 1, because I'm almost done using it. And 2, because my skin is tanned from when we had our little beach and amusement park adventure. This is the best color fit that I have right now. I only have one other foundation, and it's a little bit pale for me right now. Her makeup never looks, her foundation never looks shiny. It never looks dewy or sparkly. It looks very matte and or natural skin toned. I'm gonna brush these wild bangs down. Look, they're in my eyes. All right, we're almost there. I have, this is a NARS blush. It does look like Moriah Elizabeth wears blush, but it's very simple, very neutral. Or wear like purple or blue or orange. We're gonna go in with, this is a Maybelline Vinyl, and this is in the color 100 Charmed, because Moriah Elizabeth does tend to wear more neutral lip colors. She does occasionally wear like some pinks and some reds, but it's normally neutral, and sometimes it has a shine to it. Vinyls start out with this shine, and then the color lasts a long time, but the shine goes down, and then you're left with a neutral matte lip. And that just seems like something Moriah Elizabeth would go for, because she does a lot of voiceover work and camera facing work. So she starts out her intros like this, and then when she's doing her work, you see her hands doing the thing with a voiceover. That is our Moriah Elizabeth inspired look. What do you think? Did I do okay? And I will see you in the next video. Bye, my lovely humans.